Scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a process video using the Cocoa Daisy Summer Vibes collection. And as you can see, I have painstakingly fussy cut all of the florals out from the paper in the Classified Memory Keeping collection. It was one of the planner papers with a huge bunch of florals, and I fussy cut them out. And there's actually a process video, a reel on my YouTube of the before and after, or not my YouTube, my Instagram of the before and after. It's a fun little reel that you might want to check out. But I am currently watercoloring cardstock, and I had this idea to have sort of a tie-dye effect with these photos of my son sitting in a little bit, not wildflowers, but sitting with flowers, and I wanted it to be sort of hippy dippy. And so I created this sort of tie-dye effect, but when I started building the layout with the flowers, it sort of changed directions. And even though I did like this tie-dye effect, I thought it was really cool, it just didn't look right when I started building the layout with the flowers. So I decided to go ahead and rebuild this layout on cardstock, and or plain white cardstock. And after I have sort of laid all of these out on the tie-dye paper, I go ahead and turn off my camera, and actually that's part of the reel as well. So if you want to see me put all of the flowers on that piece of cardstock, so you can check out the Instagram reel. But this is basically the exact same process. It just moves a little bit faster and is a little bit more fun on the white cardstock. So I've decided to cover up this whole paper with the flowers. I was going to initially do a wreath and change directions, which is why I decided to do it on white paper instead. And so we are going to fast forward past that process, and you can see this is how it came out. I absolutely adore it. I just think it's so cool. And so I'm going to back these other two photos on this yellow piece of paper because I felt like I wanted to bring out the yellow of the actual flowers that he was sitting by. Plus there's not a lot of yellow flowers on the left hand side. Most of the flowers are like red and pink, and there's more blue than yellow as well. So I'm pulling out some of the yellow with this yellow cardstock instead of the flowers. So I decided to go ahead and mat this on the teal cardstock rather than white because I really like the way that those two colors play together, and I think it added a lot of balance to have the teal and the yellow on this side of the page. So now that I've got that done and centered, I'm going to take the rest of these flowers that I didn't use on the left hand side, and I'm going to just frame some of these photos with those as well, just kind of sticking them around the outside edges, not being too fussy about it because I know I'm going to add more embellishments down the line. So I'm just kind of auditioning some, seeing what I want to add. I don't want to put too many on because I don't want to detract or distract at all from all of those beautiful flowers on the other side of the page. So I'm just going to add a couple here and there. Decided to add two of the little leaf sprigs on this side. I'm not sure why. I should have just made it match and done the teal with the pink, but I decided I wanted to add the yellow in as well, so I just went ahead and did it. Not everything has to be perfectly symmetrical. In fact, having things look different on each side of the composition adds to the overall effect most of the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one up here. And I thought about trying to like add something in the corner up here, but I didn't really have anything that would work. So I'm going to do this little yellow flower. Still not going to go in the corner, but it's going to add a little bit more weight up there to the top. And then I'm just going to tuck this here, and that will finish off that top view. You can see now they're really different too. And I think that that looks better than if they were just matchy-matchy on both photos. So I've got the florals sticking out on those photos to match the other side, but I do want to make sure that I add in a title on the left hand side because I don't want it to be just the flowers. So I actually pulled out some older Cocoa Daisy alphabets because I didn't want to use the big black alphabet that was included in the Summer Vibes collection. I thought that that would detract a little bit from the page. But then you really couldn't see this alphabet on top of those flowers. So I went ahead and put it on one of the labels. And then I'm going to use the white ones to spell out my flower child. Then I decided to put all of these enamel dots sort of as centers on these flowers, not on all of them, but on a lot of them, trying to make sure I vary up the colors that I'm using on each flower. I thought I would put one there, but it covered up too much of that little centerpiece, so I decided to not go with the little ones and just go with the large ones instead. Then I'm going to take these foam hearts from this sticker sheet. I'm going to add them in here as well so that there's a little bit more white on this side, since there's a large block of white both in some of the fussy cutting flowers, but also on that label too. So I'm just trying to make sure that everything is nice and balanced color-wise, since there is so much going on this page. I don't want it to be overwhelming, although that floral is going to be just the centerpiece of everything, of course. Alright, so next I'm going to start embellishing. I decided I wanted to add a label down here at the bottom for my journaling. And then I'm going to add a bunch of the rub-ons. And I don't know why, but I always add the rub-ons last. I never think about building up the rub-ons on my page before I start embellishing. It's just how my brain works. So I'm cutting out some of these black motifs, as well as some of the watercolor looking rub-ons and the sun and cloud. And I think that that will be enough to decorate this side of the page. Still don't know what I want to do exactly, but those are the ones that I want to use, so I'm going to start there. First, I fight with this cloud, but I decide no, I need to add in the watercolor placements first. So I'm going to add this blue one in, and as well as the pink one that I cut out. We're going to go ahead and put it up underneath the photo, and that extends visually the composition horizontally. I'm going to do the same thing with these black triangles, but I'm going to make sure I face them in towards the photo so that they are pointing at the photo and not away from it. Then I added in the pink watercolor as well as the sun and the cloud over the top of it. And one little last spot of black. And actually, I didn't even realize, if you look at the other side of the page up at the top, you can see that triangle rub-on, and I didn't even realize it was stuck up there. Until I took the photos and saw it in the photos. So I actually do go back and take those little tiny triangles and put them on the page as well. It's not reflected in the close-ups, but or in actually any of the photos, because I didn't notice until after I took the photos. But I do end up putting those where they go and not stuck to the top of that page. I decided I wanted to add in a couple of word bits just to finish this off. And then I'm going to call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. I'd love to know your opinion on flowers and boys. I got some rude comments once on flowers with more masculine children, and I just don't care. I love flowers with photos of anyone. So what are your thoughts on photos of flowers, or photos of boys with flowers, and how this page came out? Let me know in the comment section below. Bye.